Alright, so I found this clip from the YouTubes. In it, Russians cut off gas to Bulgaria and Poland. Here, take a listen.
Out of loyal lawmakers, President Vladimir Putin warned what will happen if anyone interferes with or threatens Russia. They should know that our strikes in response will be lightning fast. While he was boasting about Russia's vast nuclear arsenal, the country is also weaponizing its energy supplies. It cut gas off to Poland and Bulgaria because the countries refused to pay in rubles. The suspension of gas supplies is a gross violation of their contract and is blackmail, said Bulgaria's prime minister. The country gets 90% of its gas from Russia. Poland gets just over half of its supply, but was already weaning itself off Russian gas. With warm summer months ahead, there was little concern on the streets of Warsaw. It's spring and we won't have problems with warm water or with radiators. Thus, I'm not afraid, said this man. The European Commission framed Russia's latest move as a self-inflicted wound.
The Kremlin is hurting the Russian economy because they are cutting off themselves from important revenues.
But Europe is not united when it comes to Russian energy. The president of the European Commission said that any company that buys gas in rubles would be violating sanctions, but there are reports that some already have and more are making plans to do so.
Alright, so first off, this Bulgarian president says the Russians cutting off their oil and gas is a breach of contract. Bulgaria is part of NATO, and isn't NATO talking about giving weapons to the Ukrainians? So, yeah, why can't Russia cut off their oil and gas? And here's another question. All these NATO countries, they say they support Ukraine. Well, shouldn't they have cut off all trade with Russia by themselves to punish Russia? I mean, I've heard of sanctions on Russia, but they're still taking their oil and gas and paying for it. This is why I don't take this conflict seriously, because all these Western European countries and some Eastern, they're still buying Russian oil and gas. Second, that woman who was talking, saying that the Russians were hurting themselves, no, they're hurting you more, because there's plenty of people who will buy oil and gas. China, anyone? And the Russians are doing what they have to support their war effort and punish those that are supporting Ukraine. And then there's that president of NATO or the EU or whatever. He said that any company caught buying oil and gas in rubles is a breach of a sanctions or whatever. Again, there's the sanctions. So it's all right for everybody to sanction Russia, but when Russia stops the flow of oil and gas, suddenly it makes them even worse. I mean, come on, they're already calling Putin Hitler. How much worse can it get? And, accusing Putin and the Russians of genocide. But now they're really up in arms because no more gas. Now let's circle back, as she says, to that woman who talked about self-inflicting wounds, about how it's cutting Russia off from important economic revenues. Did this woman just forget that all of these countries are doing trade sanctions? Because, again, that president guy said that accepting money in rubles is a breach of the trade sanctions. Alright, that's the end of my quick little ramble. Take care.